Check, check,
check, check. You know, the K sound is the funniest of all sounds. This is scientifically proven by many comic researchers. It really is the reason people go check, check, check. The comedy, which comes out of the word check, defines the tone of the entire evening. How loud is that?
Perfect.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to begin with J.J. Hastain and duet with J.J. Hastain.
Allow the underworlds to become elegant, and boy has a post-binary womb. A door adopts a skirt, a sky, a dove, architecture, rose, hemisect, cachet, or catch, cut through a door. Divines, door, divulges, womb, body, world, anatomical, matrices, inspiriting, binaries, elegance. Roof swings open, bliss, bless, pediment, pleth, germinate realm, continuous matter assembly. Faded, cuspid, thudding within me as I continue to find ways to escalate the gate. Blood, body, deluge, surges into drench, silkweed, sloth, grass, turbulence, proliferating along laminar arterial flows. Sudden losses or increases of are both floods. Blue, very vain and wild, quench, zir eager pulse. O aleatoric rustling, smash, inherited pronouns in your palms, while on the perimeter eat their partials, to keep seeing an androgynous body, pushed against acacia branches, being told to soak in the light, coming in from above it. Diffract, partials, flesh curves, cut away old loss. We are the differential, guests, tossed amid thorned boughs, a description falling between defined planes, any two, tangent, velocities, abrading the knot. We eat our way out. Seeding, then scalpeling light throughout this thorough echolocation of pubis. A poise of fingers describes a space, nothing at all certain, forms portioned along an array, hand, horse, film, bowl, where light transects the algebra of longing, angels dancing on a pin, ants, artifices, matrices, refuse determination, though a bowl of possibilities persists, frames and metamorphosis, pleth, cybernetic dyad, self and other, modes of articulation. As a child, I hid relentlessly burying the cigarettes that the neighbors threw over the fence, cloud erasure. In the persistence of memory, leaves fail, fall, feel, heaped or piled, are what is abandoned, lost, tossed, divinations, relentlessly erode the surface, optical memory as a clock spooling back, signaling along tracts, scourge, rush. So many ways of leaking, the always inside tear. many ways of leaking the always inside tear, rubbing away rough patterns of alignment, cosmic shear, this yawing sorrow, this elation. Dropped to my knees, face up in the center of the third labyrinth, and as the carnal rain fell into my eyes, I, a burlesque monk, drank mineral songs, a drop, a bead, precipice tumbling, carnivals rowing meters, letting go, ledge, some adept, like fears, fire, a knot perplexity snared, there, sweet abyss, labiate puzzle, falling up. Like an effort so smooth that a lace key can slip into a lace lock and turn us into a newer, venerable, a cultivated swelling of vigors, a vinegar doll. In pursuit of non-vaginal virginities, cornucopic trysts, glass interrupts, color, subtrans, is bramble and Newton's luminant bodies, seen through seamed, throat, a change, a trans, form, scissors day, fragrant, variable, sweet light, no apple. There were times when changes in the mirror saved me. A white gown alters, pattern interference, gossamers, subtending, comb the air. A blue room's honey, vernacular, speech sweetens the tongue. So earth, sky, also its pollinated trace, a window, enjoins. Both sun and cloud complement weighing the frame. Azure cup. Light saturates contraries. Light sublimates skin. Each time we enjoin, we recognize our shared body as an aqueous shield, as nomadic cave. O effeminate gorgon, grieving until appears the lover in the form of poised swans that upon closer inspection have had their heads sewn on. Estuaries full of extant sextants and fruit, the color of tar.
J.J. Hastain. We're here, we are Unlikely Stories and Unlikely Books, and we are celebrating the release of 2 new books, the collaboration between J.J. Hastain and Marthe Reed, pleth, which you've just heard, and a little later you'll hear Tom Bradley Reed from his collaboration with David Aronson. We'll see who seduces whom. Before that, we'd like to hear from Yuriy Tarnawsky. We're very lucky to have Yuriy here tonight. He's in town for the And Now conference up in Boulder, and from New York, and he was kind enough to come read with us tonight. Yuriy Tarnawsky.
That pleasure. I will read from the book that just came out from David Ives Press called Modus Tollens. The subtitle is IPDs, Improvised Poetic Devices. I call the poems heuristic poetry because they are written in a very awkward way, lines broken up in illogical places, very frequently in the middle of a word, and the reader has to wend his way through it, going back and forth, and sort of put the poem together from the broken up language that I give him or her. I will read just a few poems. First is the first one is called On Kicking the Bucket. This is printed on blown up pictures of my body, and sometimes in this light it's so hard to tell from the letters. On Kicking the Bucket. I will read it in sort of a very hulking manner to reflect the visual awkwardness. It's really quite different, actually, when you read it yourself. Make sure you've lost your family, friends. They've lost you. They all gone. No love, heart, feelings left. Gone. A blind spot on the retina. Find a room, a perfect cube, empty, no doors, windows, blinding, bright, white walls, cracks in them like giant, crouching spiders, corners, black, smell like sweaty armpits, crotches, and a reminder why you're there, a strong, brand new, shiny eye hook in the middle of the ceiling, the very center, a thick, soft, gentle rope in it, loose on the end, the knot loose, sliding, a bucket, plastic, blue, green, red, zinc, no matter what, strong, directly underneath it, top down, wear a comfortable suit, double-breasted, preferably more chest room, with deep pockets, black, navy blue preferred, less melodramatic, stand on the bucket, pull the noose over your head, around your neck, make sure it fits, tighten it, feel its softness, kindness, feel good, stick both hands in your pockets, thrust them deep, hold on to the lining, squeeze harder, don't take a deep breath, exhale, things will speed up, be easier, close your eyes, jump up, kick the bucket, hear it fly, wait for what's to Come, darkness, don't fight, accept it. Keep your hands in your pockets, keep them closed, squeeze hard, harder, hold on to the lining, in no case take them out. Try grabbing the loose rope, endure, wait, you have no choice, for relief to come, it will, in the end it will. Unkicking the bucket once more. Not it, S, more than one, a whole bunch of them, 10, 12, 2 dozen, more, stood in a circle in a big empty room, hospital, optimally, a view of wards with endless rows of white iron beds, corridors with mirror floors without end. You in the center, look around, see the circle of buckets, you zinc, preferred, obligatory, run up to one of them, swing your leg way back, aim, hit the damn thing with all your force, let it fly, make a noise, sound like a goose screeching. That's why you want zinc. Roll on, clatter, complain, go for the next one, do the same, wham, bam, bang, it goes flying, rolling, clattering, another goose kicked in the ass. The racket from the first one hasn't died down yet. Then the next one after the other, all a deafening racket, joy of metal being living outside through the wall, the tall, wide windows, a peaceful green evening with a red sunset all around. I'm kicking the bucket in a different way. Gently let the blood-red hand of the sunset on the horizon slip out of your own. Feel its color, shape, smoothness, grow smaller, gone. Ditto for the white enameled one of the hospital bed, its long, cold pianist fingers press you, eye, sight, cheek to the green toes cheek of the tree outside, then slowly slip out of feet first from between the sheets along the steeply inclined mattress into the waiting space below. Just the warmth left. Don't worry, he's stepped out for a second. We'll be back soon. Earlier I heard somebody talking about haikus. I have a little triptych called Broken Haiku. 1, 2, 3. Broken haiku, flower, such that it doesn't fit into its color as into a tight dress. Broken haiku 2, moonlight. Ancient white elephant moon wrinkled the limp trunk of its light drags on the ground. Broken haiku 3, mountain brook. Clear, you whisper, you exist. This is called God Is. An atheist, a regular down-to-earth meat and potatoes guy, too busy for silly sentimental theories, likes to roll up his sleeves, get down to the nitty-gritty molecules electrons, photons, neutrons, quarks, strings that vibrate, sound like angry killer bees. The world is not an effect. It has no cause, could not have one. Where would it, the cause, have been, creating it? If it was inside the world, it was part of it. It just changed itself. That's all. A cause cannot be its own effect. Chores. Was born, breathed in, opened my eyes, cried, ate, grew, walked, spoke, went to school, graduated, got a job, wife, had kids, built a house, tired, retired, all done, shit no, forgot, still have to die. And the last one, it's the last one in the book. It's called Little Fugue. It alludes to Beethoven's the great fugue, also Fugue. From outer inner space, regardless, the globe looks like a big round head crawling with frantic shapes. Live hair, ants, an ant heap, someone stepped into? No, people, all of humanity, everyone runs after from. It's a chase, flight, Latin fuga, from fugere, from the moment you were born to the instant you die. After what you can't reach from that sum of feet, wheeze of breath, clat of bones. Whose bones? You know whose, just behind you. John jogs in the morning to stay in shape, be up to the demands of his job, life. Jane at night, to look good, catch John or someone else. A baby runs barefoot for gold in Rome. Greta in high-tech shoes for a big car, bigger bucks in Central Park. 45,000 run limp with her for fame, pain, camaraderie, the heck of it. Barack runs for president to save the country from the others. Hillary, John, Mitt, the other ditto the same. Bernie runs after his friends. They're your money, riches, a couple more yachts, Florida homes. Little Bobby runs to mommy to hug her, feel safe. Mommy runs around like crazy from morning till night, to from school, piano, ballet, science, Chinese lesson, soccer, hockey, gymnastics, practice her yoga class, a typical piano, ballet, science, Chinese lesson, soccer, hockey, gymnastics, yoga, practicing mom. Daddy runs for the school board to be bored on it like all the others, then the city council, state assembly, Congress. Why stop there? Brenda runs away from her home to shack up with her gas pump attendant boyfriend, Brad. Tony runs the gas station to make a living and make life hard for Brad. Marcia, despite all appearances, runs the show, most probably because of her first name. She wears pants in the family, too, in addition to underpants, of course. Robert Rabbit runs scared all his life, definitely because of his last. Brian runs for his light because he hears a shell coming. Sally runs to the bathroom because she has an infection and a small bladder to boot. Stuart runs to catch the bus so as not to be late in the office once again. Julia runs up the steps in Hollywood to finally get her Oscar. Gabby did the same in Stockholm for his Nobel Prize diploma medal check. They stretch out their hands, close their fingers, but that's not it. Enough. The chase flight goes on. Then one day, when you least expect it, presto, she's right there behind, before them, you, us all. Pressed up tight, snap, zap, she's got us, we're gone. Or as Ukrainians say, choć króć, choć wert, znajdziesz sobie uczerpoczku swet. Or you can twist and you can turn, but in the end, you'll wind up in an urn. Pretty long for a little few, huh?
Very good. That's a Jada Davis Productions, and yeah, that's a fascinating site that Deborah DeBlasi runs. Has all kinds of cool books, including Yuriy's book that we heard from just now. Next up, we've got Frankie Metro, who came in from Albuquerque. Frankie is on staff as a staff reviewer at Unlikely Stories. I believe his official title is Chief Rock and Roll On.
That was your title, actually.
That's my title.
Well, no, I mean, that was your idea, but I like it.
Oh, no, I don't do ideas. No. Frankie Metro.
I just got a backpack, basically. You guys do a lot of great stuff in Unlikely books, and I'm really grateful to be involved with that. So. I'm going to start off first reading something from somebody else. Really great guy that I know named Dustin Holland put out a book called Captain Head by Cleftjaw Press. And I just wanted to read one quick poem before I read some stuff of my own. It's called Huya. 5 blocks from any given midnight, Gustav Mahler hits an old woman right square in the mouth and doesn't even feel bad about it. Tonight, after and away from the hallways of our insufferable education, Dennis Hopper is starting to look a lot like Joseph Smith, and you are my cassette tape angel with a secret. In caves and canyons, and then head south for winter where no one can see us, where the second dimension finds its endings in the snow, like fireworks, like headstones, like the styrofoam packing peanuts and plastic Buddhas of our infinite finishings under piles of old shoes in the closet, like on top of a mountain in the brand new empty, in the Tibetan store with the bumper stickers and crack pipes behind the counter looking for a knife for Jake, with river songs and 6-shooters, and the federales won't even know what to call us when it's time for dinner or when to send our mail. And that was Dustin Holland. I guess describing myself, I don't know, sometimes I like to not say I like to say he sometimes. And basically, he seeks the transcendental stooped in their ectoplasmic neediness. He denounces science fiction in the infinite rows of critics and dog piles of uniformed family members and looking for the spurned and finding the temples are closed. The New Herald has finally understood the ultimate lesson of RTP Kane that striving for resurrection in any sense is a fool's trade. The instant the gift, whatever gift is attainable, is when it is well beyond reach. Then in the many levels of a charmed existence are the unused stepladders of the world, high chairs for men who believe in Frankenstein versus Wolfman stories, genuine friendship, the heads of the sequestered gurgling alone in their crushed aluminum buckets, gambit of the reanimator and the foolhardy test subject in the age of compassion and hereditary trademarks. This next one, I don't really have a title, but I guess, for lack of a better term, I'll just call it Longitude. Longitudes are dictated by impulse spending and regurgitation, like a malformed parental lodged in the baby bird's mouth, forcing the squad to repeat the lesson, each time pronouncing toe and soul a little bit better, but never really nailing it as is expected. Car commercial cavemen walking the golden alley where hot garbage is serenity and style. Bum stains are regal, and you can never find anyone that's asleep. Neanderthals in wide-cut dickies wearing the same flannel shirt I'm caught in when photos are taken. My mouth's always open. I never focus in the right spot. I'm not patient enough to hold a pose. This next one I'm just going to dedicate to Huey P. Newton, or whatever memory that somebody can come up with. Watching self-respected black men being 1/8 of the 100% of the joke, rooms and stereo, light minus skinned, a typical center of focus for the room, one in a straw desert pony hat and cherry wood pipe, and the other with flat, matte dreads that move in unison but act more like the Williams sisters' pussy hair tight knit. I start to realize I'm the sorry sack of atypical loneliness in the corner of the bar that is unoccupied, and no one laughs in my direction anymore. Cold slab tickle drains the fat deposits of a motor-mouth twin with no feet, no tongue, no hands to speak of. But lying safe in the humerus below the clavicle of a forced habit, no one could really explain why a torso didn't accompany the arm, why an unborn twin wasn't described in the course outline for basic cadaver anatomy at Baxter University, why the head had only half a smile twisted and faded behind a shield of pink, cameo pink actually, brachialis, but one student in the back of the class heard electric organs playing in his third eye when they sliced that fucker open. Thank you guys very much.
Next up we have Lindsey Thomas. Lindsey also lives in Albuquerque. I believe she may have taken the same bus up with Frankie. Lindsey, this is Lindsey's art you've been watching on the screen, and we'll have more of it. And Lindsey is also a staff reviewer at Unlikely. I think the title, her official title is Habitual Line Stepper, and I'm pretty sure that was also Frankie's, no, her idea, yes.
My idea.
That was Frankie's idea. All right. Lindsey Thomas.
Hello, everybody. I'm really terrified to be here in front of you right now reading from this book. I just released this. It's called Blind Date at the Glass-Eyed Disco, and I'm just going to read a couple of excerpts and get out of here. I'm really nervous. Sorry. Okay. Dancers. Make $10,000 a month. Hawaii, Alaska, and Guam. Free airline and housing. $500 a week, plus tips. Phoenix New Times. Ashley nervously dialed the listed number. The recruiter, Doug, gave her an address to send photos. A headshot, as well as front and rear body shots. Ashley took Polaroids of herself posing in a pink bikini and a pair of heels leaning next to a palm tree outside of her apartment complex. Upon receiving the photos, Doug called Ashley to schedule an interview at his home office, a North Phoenix townhome full of white furnishings, carpet, and a giant white dog. In addition to being a recruiter for his own talent agency, he was also a Chippendales dancer. When she suggested that he interview her at the club where she worked, Doug cleared up the confusion. I don't like going to bars unless I'm working myself. Doug was in his late 30s or early mid-40s. He had deeply tanned skin and blue eyes, accentuated by a white button-down shirt that matched the couch. He was simultaneously sleazy and wholesome, like he ate a lot of whole grains, fresh vegetables, and was very promiscuous with both men and women. The interview began with a tourist video about Guam that showed people scuba diving in white sand beaches and Vegas-style entertainment at the island's hotels. Many girls finish their contracts and go straight to Japan and Australia because it's so much closer than the mainland. It's easy to hop on a small plane and visit other nearby islands like Saipan and Palau. Some never want to leave. They just end up staying there and enrolling in the university. Some even get married to servicemen and quit dancing. After staring at her quietly for a few moments, Doug informed Ashley that you've passed the initial phase of the recruiting process, but now we'll need to send the club some more professional photos. I'm a makeup artist and photographer. That red lipstick you're wearing has bluish undertones and makes you look a bit dead, and I need to make your eyes really pop. He handed Ashley a towel and told her to wash her face. Ashley's enthusiasm to see what a professional would do for her dampened when he pulled out his makeup bag and revealed the Wet n Wild that she knew would eventually give her a rash. She looked like a prostitute, wearing so much black eyeliner to hide the bruises left by her pimp or somebody who hadn't slept for 3 days. You look great, he said, and proceeded with the photo shoot. Now I need to see how you move. He sat down on a chair and assumed the position of a man receiving a table dance. Ashley performed her usual routine, in which she would alternate between bending over so he could look at her ass and turning around to set one knee on his thigh and leaning in so his face was within inches of her breasts. Doug nodded and smiled politely. That was good, but I don't think it was authentic enough. I'm going to dance for you and show you how it's done. He stepped into his walk-in closet to change and came out in a Zorro costume. Princess When Dove's Cry was blaring on the stereo. He danced provocatively for a couple of minutes and then alternated his deep gaze into Ashley's eyes and back into his own in the mirror before removing his tearaway pants to reveal that he was fully aroused. At the peak of the song, with a couple of quick strokes, he ejaculated in his hand. Ashley wasn't sure how she felt when she drove away from the audition. She thought about the time that she went for a job interview for a position as a lotion model. She didn't know what it was meant by the term lotion demonstration, but she called the phone number and arranged for an interview. She made sure that her breasts were full of milk and put on a cleavage-revealing dress to meet the woman to talk about the position. The parlor was located in a warehouse district. Inside were several little rooms, each with a camera that transmitted all activities to an office monitor. The woman explained that when a customer arrived, all the lotion models were coming out looking pretty. He would select one or more of them for a show in a private room. You don't actually touch anyone with the lotion. The man uses it on himself. The cameras are there for the safety of our models. The customer is allowed to touch himself, but he's not allowed to touch the girls in an intimate area. The models are not allowed to touch themselves extensively. Masturbation is considered a sex act. And if we are raided, they would get us for prostitution. Ashley was still uncomfortable with the memory of the lotion parlor, but she was somewhat pleased with the novelty of receiving a free jack-off show from a real-life Chippendales dancer, probably because she thought it would be interesting to write about in her book someday.
Very cool. All right, next up we have a man who's been here many times running shows, if I'm not mistaken. Have you ever read here, Jeff?
Actually once.
Well, read here once and organized a number of shows, right?
I like coming watching shows here because it's usually the slams I come to watch, and I'm not a slam.
Very good. Excellent. So we will find out what kind of poet you are tonight, yes? From Boulder, Colorado, we have Jeffrey Spahr-Summers. Jeffrey served as art director for Unlikely for 2 years? Or was
I think it was more like a year.
A year? More like a year?
Yeah.
It was
2007.
Yeah, 2007. And read with us at the AWP here in Denver in 2010. Did a wonderful job. Here he is again.
My poems are very short, so feel free to use these as a visual. There's one per card. Who let Bukowski in? Now the bastard won't leave. He sits at the kitchen table of my mind, like a sous chef swilling the cooking wine. He is cleaning his nails with a fork. You don't know what love is. I saw a Zulu woman once kick her husband's teeth out. They fell from his mouth like chiclets on a night like this. She snapped like a dry stick. She struck, quick as lightning, a ruthless cobra stretching the full length of her body. And he never saw it coming. But I did. It didn't surprise me. "15 minutes of fame," he said. Andy Warhol, one weird-ass dude, an artist who said everyone gets it, what's coming to them. I mean, I've already had mine, up to here. No biggie, no rush, no pressure. Thanks all the same. Stroke of poetry. You probably got this. One poem for each piece of clothing, she says. So I read her some Carver. The first poem is short but poignant. Off comes my shirt, tossed to the dogs. I count the many poems she requires. I quickly pick another poignant piece. And I'm curious about socks. After all, they are identical. Now 2 poems, she says. This is harder than you think. I believe in love at first sight, in the power of words, in differences, in our sexes, in passion, in pain, in no, in yes, in hope, in perhaps, in whatever is left. Ignoring history. We choose to do this as a society, as a race. We clamber for bread and circuses like Romans, already corrupted, lounging in our spas, barking orders, throwing undesirables to the lions, because we don't really know why. We do it anyway. We live for it somehow. It comforts us. To wield this power like crafty would-be gods, creating chance and circumstances, handing out candy, warding over life and death. Contrary. Having known desire, having drank of pleasure and purple pain, I stand in front of the mirror, a ghost stirring inside me. Inside my musty mind, a hand and suddenly a razor, rushing through me. One day, someday, one never knows. Perspective. Caught in a dolly moment, just outside of Wichita, just after dark in Kansas, a ballerina of the cornfield, not far up ahead, the hot red hail of taillights, just up ahead. A white-tailed deer pirouettes in a puff of steam, just like this, as the hot blood trips the frigid air in my headlights. A strangely beautiful arc of crimson red. "5 minutes at a time," number 51. Today I find courage in the grunt work, the behind-the-scenes tinkering that most of us miss in the kitchen. Things like rationalizing my desire, things like strategy, and trying not to overthink something pretty basic. Bonfire. This is a true story. The day I torched all the poetry, I was a sick but determined man. I was looking for liberation, like the great bra-burners of the 60s. In pajama bottoms at high noon, I dragged out the olive trash can, gathered up 29 years of poems, every one I could lay hands on, doused them with liquid starter, struck a match, and tossed to me. B. I go to capture some spirits in a box I filled with cellulite, mirrors of shadow and light, stealing private essence of images, sky, tree, flower, dog, and keep them frozen. 2 more. The silver coin. A remnant of old experiment. A token of old fears remembered in my hand. Paul Kruger, the first president, on the front. A springbuck on the back. Zuid-Afrika, it says. 1967. Sole Deo Gloria. Still smooth and ominous. We all hold swords. In joy we give them to the sky. In pain we turn on each other. In faith, despite, we sharpen them. In love we learn to stay our hand.
We are going to close tonight with someone who's taller than I am. Tom Bradley, his new book, We'll See Who Seduces Whom, a collaboration with David Aronson. David Aronson made paintings, and Tom Bradley did the poem around them. It's a graphic long poem, more or less in the style of a graphic novel. As far as I know, only the 4th to come out. There were 3 that came out by 3 small publishers in 2010. And I think this is the latest one. So We'll See Who Seduces Whom, and Tom Bradley.
When secret psychodramas of the night initiate us in their mysteries, blindfolds tourniqueted and cinched tight, to swaddle up our eyes like infant twins, until they're ready to contain a glimpse of chaos that surpasses all restraint. The lucid dream will prematurely tease that diaper from your exoteric face. Tibetans taught this to their fledgling dead, before enduring death by Mao instead. But dream yogins are just as doctrinaire as Ratzinger in his Sedalia chair, and lately, when those Buddhist bardos gleam, they're reinterpreted as something scream. Half-witted dreams with one shut eye are dreamt, half-assed hallucinations semi-slept. When waking thoughts are not exactly bright, what makes us think they might illumine sleep? Beneath those liquid crystal molecules, a glimpse of liquidated personhood's horrific light is yet available. Pure nothingness still seethes behind those screens in pre- and post-existent harmony. Dominions, powers, and principalities will show us their annihilating truths, unless they're masked with asininity. The lucid dream is self-endorsing, trite. Do we presume to claim ourselves the right to spread our own ephemerality, like acne sebum, oiling troubled waves that otherwise dredge monsters up from depths? The perishable citizen, the dreck, that's taken out and dumped when trashed by death, assuming the high autocratic post of overseer general for dreams, exerts fastidiousness upon the realm where rots unripe bizarrery the norm. The consciousness, the primate's attitude, entangled in its raveling rag of skin, a function of the gonad's shamelessness, projects its flesh dependency on thoughts that undersleep parthenogenerate. The personality, quotidian, assumes it owes selfhood to parentage, and therefore on the masses of the night obtrudes overt erotic imagery which superegoistic scruples strip of pricks and cunts and raw humanity. To pass unindividuated time, connective tissues cause to interlink, together two mere wads of stuff, butt heads, and glue collaborative tongues to mutual tits, in furtive concert toward no nobler end than to be dungeoned in organic cells the sundry sprites who grace the ambient air. It's doubtful that an exiled godly being, on temporary basis matter-mired, would call for fucking as prerequisite instead of something far more pertinent to spirit's unadulterated state. Hermetic isolation, strange, sublime. Half-hearted plays for eyes with half-shut lids are mounted without benefit of id. We're fornicating to a metronome, restricting holocausts to hookah-tubes, hysteria to sighs of lassitudes. While gutting babies with a laser tool, we cauterize and disinfect the wounds before we've even had the time to drool. Why would we want to will away the chance? Because his dreams are emceed by himself, the lucid dreamer looks upon the world to presuppose a slightly larger self, pulled from his ass, the most perfunctory and shallow of all semi-gelled conceits. The popish Heavenly Father, come brought God, is kidnapped from his Jewish tribal tent and styled the ultimate reality, himself the most egregious specimen of lucid dreamer semi-dreamt by men. Just as the lucid dreamer, here below, puts on a prissy chicken liver show, a celibate yet generative lord oviparized the teen's cloacal twin in soft-boiled porno-mytho-poesy to violate his own presumptive laws as priests transgress their juicy altar boys. This demiurgic errand boy, this mope, gets gussied up as pretty as a pope. To take this bungling spastic fucker up of our particular niggling solar clump and puff him into that unthinkable, unreachable by either praise or blame, entails the sickest blasphemy of all. The ultimate reality would scorn to implicate its sacrosanctity in perpetration of the cosmic botch we childishly refer to as our world. Its sacrilege in exclusivity, performable by lucid dreaming twats, the crassest, the most ultra-obvious of all counterintuitivity. The stunted sense of immaterial things that hampers him who never deeply sleeps, whose Lorelei distracts him from dream work, retards his rationality as well. So, ears unstopped, he entertains beliefs epitomizing all vulgarity. To dream lucidity is to commit, in argument as dumb as circular, the odysseys of cosmic tastelessness. Vicarious atonement is contrived when foolishness summarily denies rebirth and karma's double principle that manifestly runs the universe. Eternal bliss, or torment just as long, supplant probation which justice demands. That's lucid dreaming's fanciful time-old error. Such asininity necessitates a spiritual and moral travesty. The filthy motto puked in pseudo-Paul's epistle to the Hebrews, clearly forged, die only once, and afterwards be judged. For this we have the lucid dream to curse. As if it's not uncouth enough to try to make Jehovah chief executive, the lucid dreamer's essays to dumb down our gnomes, our undines, salamanders, sylphs, our elementals, and their mighty ilk. The cherub's terror is masked in baby fudge, the Syrian monstrous forcibly shanghaied to grace this world of Disney-fied pastel with attributes originally belched from hell. Where fins and scales of wadded mud prevailed, once wedged all round with hex cuneiform that hissed profundities as old as towns, we get a glabrous tweenies turquoise gown. Would Atargatus pose for lucid eyes, or would a single brief self-conscious glance cause more than cock to swell and barf its brains? Did she employ that fishtail as a tease, a tickling adjunct to cartoonish tits, or as cetacean scourge to smash to bits the shivered shrimp boats of the human wits. Her followers castrate themselves with shards. Semiramis, her daughter, dorked a horse. Somehow I doubt she'd be a slickin' thing, in face as featureless as mindless gets, not even ill-considered, complacent, pubeless as an Arab's promised houri, not bald, but depilated, with a scalp equipped with polyvinyl chloride cloth, and nipples alien to dairy toil, gravities repealed within their ken. Ostensible pudenda, Barbie-dolled, are glossed beneath a genitalic thighs, perpetually pinched in pudency, tempered to a Virgin Mary blue, the surface texture purged of macula. A non-mammalian lower torso bleeds when stroked by fillet knife, but not monthly. Negredo's black unshaped lubricity gets socialized, elucidated, bleached by exegesis epidermis deep. Erased his vene varicoses grooves, unpuckered the old striae distensae. I want my megalomestiza ma, although she was more difficult to draw. Thank you.
When you see the video, Tom, you'll see that what was happening behind you went so well with what you were saying that people are going to think we actually rehearsed. It's amazing.
We actually did, yeah.
That's us for tonight. We're unlikelystories.org and Unlikely Books. We have JJ's collaboration with Marthe Reed, pleth, and we have Tom's collaboration with David Aronson. We'll See Who Seduces Whom for sale, and thank you very much.